You didn't upgrade your system. You just added speed to the dysfunction. Faster entries. Cleaner charts. Tighter EMAs. But the core is still panic. You're not reacting to the market. You're reacting to the possibility of being late, of watching the candle run without you, of missing the perfect move while you hesitate. So you trained your hand to fire faster than your mind. You built a ritual. Click before you think. Exit before you're certain. Blame the chart when it slips. This isn't strategy. It's avoidance. You scalped your own patience, then called it optimization. You want the perfect entry, but what you really want is relief. Relief from the weight. Relief from the anxiety. Relief from the unknown. Every tweak is just permission to keep chasing without thinking. Your rules? They're just a rebrand of your fear. Scalping didn't make you sharper. It made you twitchier. Faster rituals. Same collapse. You're not managing time. You're fleeing silence. And that silence is the only place you'll ever see the market clearly. You stare at the 1-minute chart like it owes you something. Every candle becomes a threat. Every pause feels like punishment. You don't wait for confirmation. You just need motion. Any motion. Because motion means you're still in the game. Still active. Still in control. But you're not in control. You're held hostage by a nervous system that can't stand stillness. You think you're being precise. You're just compressing collapse into smaller time frames. This is not edge. This is erosion. You memorize candle wicks like spells. Convince yourself there's logic in the chaos. If you zoom in far enough, the tighter the time frame, the less you see. But that's the point. You don't want to see. You want to react. Thinking is dangerous. Reflection costs time, and time lets the fear speak. So you chase certainty inside a window too small to hold it. You don't scalp the market. You scalp your hesitation. You scalp your self-doubt. You scalp every part of you that once asked, "Is this even working?" Now your only measure of success is whether it moved right after your entry, not whether it made sense, not whether the setup was valid. Just, did it move fast enough to calm me? You tell yourself, it's about being early, being sharp, being decisive. But you're not early. You're impatient. You're not sharp. You're triggered. You're not decisive. You're addicted. Every loss? You explain it away with volatility. Every win? You call it skill. You built a belief system that only survives inside the 1-minute loop. Zoom out, and the illusion dies. Because the truth is, you don't want to stop scalping. Not because it works, but because stopping would force you to admit you never had clarity to begin with. You got fast, so you didn't have to get still. You built entries, so you didn't have to build patience. You loop because silence feels like death. because waiting feels like failure, because calm feels like weakness. But the market doesn't reward motion. It punishes compulsion. Every early click is just you trying to outrun your own discomfort. And no amount of speed will save you from that. Your chart history is a graveyard of near misses. Entries that came too soon, exits that came too late. Moments you convinced yourself were close enough. You never actually tested your strategy. You tested your ability to tolerate chaos. And now you've adapted to it. Not improved. Adapted. You can't go an hour without scanning. You say it's discipline, but it's dependence. Every chart flip, every tab switch, every time you reload the pair, you're not analyzing. You're self-soothing. You don't see trades. You see threats. You enter to escape. You exit to breathe. Your entire execution process is built around emotional discharge, not probability. You can't hold, because holding requires belief. And you don't believe in anything longer than 10 seconds. So you shrink your targets, cut your trades, double your entries. You say the RR is tight to improve win rate. It's not. You just don't trust yourself anymore. Risk management isn't strategy for you. It's trauma control. Because every trade feels like a ticking bomb. And every missed move feels like proof that you're slipping, that you're late, that you're nothing without speed. This is the collapse. Not when your balance drops. Not when your win rate nosedives. The collapse is when your identity becomes fused with your entries. When a green candle defines your mood. When silence makes you question your worth. You built a self that only survives inside that twitch response rhythm. Step back and you disappear. Hold longer and you panic. You became fast because clarity requires waiting. And waiting exposes the truth that you have no idea what you're actually trading. Not price, not setups, not even patterns. You're trading your own anticipation, your own fear of loss, your own thirst for movement. You say you want freedom, but you chained yourself to the only strategy that guarantees no rest, no space, no pause, no peace. And still you refresh, still you plot, still you open another position just to feel something. This is not strategy. This is you on a leash, held by a chart. You no longer see clearly. Delete the 1 minute chart. Not hide it. Not minimize it. Delete it. Watch what happens to your body when you do. Watch the instinct kick in. The panic. The need to reopen it. That's not discipline failing. That's withdrawal. Because the 1 minute chart was never a tool. It was a crutch. It gave you the illusion of control, the illusion of opportunity. the illusion that speed was the answer. But speed is not precision. Speed is not clarity. Speed is just panic with polish. You've trained your eyes to twitch at every flicker. But real vision isn't reactive. It's still. You say you want mastery. Then stop practicing anxiety. Delete the 1-minute chart and sit in the silence it leaves. Let the discomfort rise. Let the urge to enter scream. Let the identity you built around movement start to break. Because only when it breaks can something sharper emerge. Real strategy doesn't rush. Real edge isn't afraid to miss. Missing the move isn't failure. Chasing it is. You built rituals to avoid risk, but ended up addicted to the riskiest thing of all, false urgency. Your next trade doesn't need to be better. You do. And that means confronting the part of you that can't wait, that needs the chart to breathe, that thinks clarity is what happens after the trade. Clarity is what happens before, but only if you slow down enough to let it form. Right now, you don't need a better strategy. You need a funeral. For the loop, for the twitch, for the illusion that faster means safer. Kill the reflex. Mourn the identity. Step into the space where actual thinking can begin. Today's win is brutal. Delete the chart. If it breaks you, it was never you trading. It was always the addiction, with your hands on the mouse. You didn't lose money because your strategy was weak. You lost because you couldn't wait. You couldn't hold the uncertainty. So you clicked. Again and again. You needed a chart that moved, so you didn't have to. But the market doesn't reward movement. It exposes motive. And yours was never clarity. It was escape. You weren't scalping price. You were scalping time, trying to slice fear into smaller pieces so it wouldn't drown you. But it still did, silently, every day, until even the wins felt like a setup. Because deep down, you knew you weren't becoming a trader. You were becoming a reaction. The faster you got, the further you drifted from anything real. So now you decide, do you want movement or mastery? Because they are not the same. And only one of them will let you walk away with your mind intact. This video confronts behavior. It does not define identity.